Hi, as you can see, we're home. It's actually a sunny day at home today, so it's quite nice for us to be warm. Well, not quite as warm as we were in Sri Lanka, but still nice to be warm and at home. We thought it would be a good idea to go through the costings of what we spent while we were away. So here we are.
Here we go. Okay. So first up, most expensive item as ever was the flights. So we flew with Emirates from Gatwick to
Dubai first.
Dubai, yeah, and had just over 8 hour layover in Dubai, which worked really nicely actually, because with Emirates, if it's more than an 8 hour layover, you get a free hotel and a free meal in Dubai. So we went and had a look around Dubai, went to the hotel and had a meal, and then back to the airport. And nice way just to see the main bits of central Dubai.
Yeah, and it was good to see the Burj Khalifa and all of that. We spent barely any money, and had the free hotel, the really nice shower, and then got on the hotel bus back. So it worked out really well, and it actually meant we felt quite nice and clean when we arrived. But we did mean that we were absolutely exhausted on that second 4-hour flight, and we did sleep for a couple of hours before landing. So that was good. So
so that was the flights, £1,350.
Yeah.
Okay.
And accommodation, we spent £686. So that averages out on £22.86 a night, which is quite cheap. We did have a couple of extremely cheap ones, like in Palawanwara, it was £6 a night. So
sunset, yeah,
something
the
like
sunset.
So it did vary quite a lot, but
that was even with a lot of them including breakfast, and breakfast was always enough to feed 10.
Mm-hmm. So we'll come to that.
Yeah.
And then the other transport that we had was paying obviously for the Tuktuk, which was pretty good. It was really good. It was £536, which included the Tuktuk and the petrol. I think. Is that right? No,
petrol separate.
Petrol, okay. £8 petrol.
Yeah, so the petrol, that works out at about 4.5 pence per kilometre, or 7.2 pence per mile, because we did 1,770 kilometres, which is about 1,100 miles in the Tuktuk. So yeah, I think we expected to do about 1,000 miles, so we probably did a little bit more because we did some kind of little trips out during the day and things, which we didn't calculate when we worked out the original route.
We went all the way back to go to Idawala, so we went quite a long way back.
Yeah.
So that was just bad planning.
Well, it's just we decided we wanted more elephants. So.
No, you decided you wanted more elephants. But there we go. So that was that.
Do you regret it?
No, it was good, but it was an extra.
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that was pretty. I mean, there were a few other little bits within the transport, just odd times we actually hired a tuk-tuk in the evening if we wanted a beer or something, but that was insignificant in the totals. So, good. And we did get £120 back because we returned the tuk-tuk in perfect condition. So we got our full deposit back, which was good.
Yeah.
Especially as I don't think we've actually mentioned it in any of the videos, but I did manage to drive it off a bridge at one point. I've got the don't tell tuk-tuk rental, but I did. Google Maps has sent us down this little road, and it came to almost like a walkway across a lagoon, and we were just about to turn around thinking, no, it's not meant for vehicles, it's only for pedestrians. And then a local came the other way in a tuk-tuk, so we thought, oh well, that's all right. So I drove across, and just as I was getting to the other end, there was quite a sharp turn, and my back wheel didn't quite make it round the corner and fell off the edge of the bridge.
But luckily there was another tuk-tuk rental coming the other way who was obviously going to do the same thing as us, and he helped us lift it back on, and there was no damage, and it was all good.
So, it was. when they crossed the bridge, his partner was walking in front of him backwards, watching the wheels to make sure he didn't do the same. So we saved him. But yeah, that was
a bit of a scary moment.
It was. We didn't video it at all because we were panicking. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. So restaurants, we spent £370 in restaurants.
Yeah, and
wasn't too bad.
Not too bad. Drinks, we only spent £100. I had to look at this again and check I'd recorded everything, but we only spent £105 on our alcoholic drinks, which is probably a record low for us.
That makes us sound bad. No, but
we like a beer at the end of the night, and yeah. I suppose quite a few times we just bought beers from the little off licenses.
Yeah, the little off license.
Which obviously is much cheaper than if you're going to bars and things. So we did do that a few times.
But that's because we were driving. So you couldn't drink and drive. So either and some of the time we stayed in places that were a little bit further out because they had parking. And we don't really like to be in the centre because it's too noisy to sleep. So that's why.
Yeah, partly.
But
that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Coffee, £62. Spent nearly as much on coffee as we did on.
Quite a lot. Yeah.
Although I think that included ice creams and things as well.
Okay.
And the odd cake.
And then groceries was £33. I'm presuming, or somewhere in there is all the coconuts because we had a lot of coconuts.
Yes.
Drank it
both. Well, you drink it, then eat it.
Yeah.
So that gave a total for all food and drink of £570, so about £19 a day. So again, ridiculously cheap. I think we budgeted about 30 for that. So,
but I think we were just saying that actually it's because it included breakfast, and the breakfast was so huge there that actually we didn't want it. We'd have breakfast at 9-10 o'clock, and then we didn't want to eat till 6. So I think because they were so huge, uncomfortably so at times.
Well, trying to eat it all.
Just trying not to be rude, because quite a few of them, particularly in Ella, he was very upset if we didn't eat everything.
He was.
So,
couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
Breakfast like a king and dinner like a pauper, but the trouble was we didn't do the dinner like a pauper.
No, but we didn't eat all day, so that's why I think
the odd ice cream or snack. But yeah. So that was good.
Okay, sightseeing and activities. So this we found was significantly more expensive than we've done before. So when we were in Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, all the entrances into the sort of big attractions like the Grand Palace and the Watts are obviously free, but the other national sort of things, the killing fields and everything, were very, very cheap. Whereas it was £30 every time in Sri Lanka. So to get into the national parks, to even drive through the national parks, we didn't do that on our route, but the entrances to Palawanwara and Anuradhapura, they were
they were 65 and 50 respectively. Although Palawanwara, that included a guide, so we did have a guide there. Lion Rock was £57, and then the two safaris were £130 and £103 respectively for Wilpatu and Udawalawa even.
No, so I can't say it. The surfing wasn't bad. We had 2 surfing lessons, and that came to £60.
Yeah,
basically for 4
lessons, and that included use of the sunbeds and a bottle of water.
Yeah, and then we also did the kayaking trip in Palawanwara, and that was £20. It was basically £10 each, which went directly to the man.
It was just a local fisherman, so that was actually quite nice.
That was quite nice,
and it was a nice little. It was some of the first elephants we'd seen, really.
Yeah, and it was nice that it went directly to him. So that was good. So that overall came to £594.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more than we'd spent on previous trips. But you can't go all these places and not see things.
No, I mean,
things.
You could probably do some of those a bit. I mean, if you are on a real budget, then you don't have to go up the actual Lion Rock, Sigiriya. We also went to the other 2 nearby, Pidurangala and the fort. Which the fort one is free. Pidurangala was only a few pounds, so you could go and you get good views of it from there. But obviously, you don't get to go to the top of Lion Rock and see the actual fort. So
that would be a shame.
Haven't gone all that way. It would be a shame, but it does depend. If you are on a really tight budget, you could do that, and you can probably get the safaris maybe a bit cheaper.
I don't think
because we were the only 2 in the Jeep. I think if you had more people in the Jeep, then you might get it cheaper.
Possibly.
So that you might be able to do a bit cheaper. But I mean, to be honest, in the scheme of things, it's still not. It's still not expensive. Yeah. Okay, and the last kind of major spend was on just sort of some of the fees and charges. So I mean, SIM cards worked really well, and it was only £12.40 for 2, so £6 each for a SIM card for the month, and it had all the data we needed, no problem at all.
We didn't run out. I did think we were going to, but we didn't. No. Obviously, using Google Maps all the way around, we were fully expecting to have to top them up, but didn't have to at all.
No.
So that was good.
That was good. e-visas cost us £102, which you could do cheaper if you use the official site rather than...
Well, yeah, I made a bit of a mistake. So I was in charge of the visas and I followed the link, thought I was on the proper one, and turns out I wasn't. I was on one from India and they charged an extra, I think it's £12 or something.
Yeah.
And then clicked again to do Callum's and ended up on the proper site, and then that cost less. The worrying thing was that I thought I'd done it wrong and that yours came through before mine. It was only when I chased mine that mine then came up. So just be careful. It looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it was just that I was paying India, and that should have been what I'd realised, that it was wrong. I shouldn't have been paying anyone in India. But you live and learn. I won't do the mistake again, and it only cost £12, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. And then next, I did take the drone with me, so you'll have seen a few drone shots. Didn't use it a massive amount, but you did have to get a license for the drone in Sri Lanka, which was a bit of a convoluted process. So if you are going to take a drone, allow yourself a couple of months before applying, and you do have to specify where you want to use it and on what dates. It was never checked, and I don't imagine they're ever going to check, but you do then get a license that lists all the places you've said. So I just kept it as general as I could and put sort of, so I knew roughly when we were going to be in, I don't know, say Ella, then I'd just put sort of, I wanted to use it in Ella for 2 or 3 days and try to cover it that way. So
and it was fine because you were using it before we got to the second safari, and the police came up and they were very jolly and very happy, and they didn't have to see anything. They just went, was
so it's,
I don't think as long as you're not using it anywhere near Lion Rock, I think you're probably all right.
I think it's
we did see them zapping somebody's
there was a drone that got zapped out of the sky near Lion Rock because you're not allowed. So just don't use it where you're not meant to use it and you'll be fine. But that was £42 for the license online.
And the final bit really was our airport parking. It has cost us £112 to park at Gatwick. We were really relieved to drive ourselves, because when we came back from Heathrow, our previous trip, we nearly died in the car. It was the most dangerous part of the trip. It was good to be able to drive ourselves and get there under our own steam. So for shorter trips, we're definitely going to do that again. So
that was that. Yeah.
So that came to 269 for fees and charges.
So overall, we spent £4,180 for absolutely everything for 30 days driving a tuk-tuk around Sri Lanka, which we'd allowed about 5,000, so well under what we'd allowed for, thanks to mainly the cheaper accommodation and food, probably. Would certainly, we will do it again.
We will. We're going to go up and we're going to do the North Moor and the East Coast. So that's another trip, but obviously we have to do that in the summer, and we prefer to be away in the winter. So we need to factor that in somewhere. Yeah.
But so that was what we spent. We did record some views on our trip overall while we were sat on the beach in Bentota, and it was fresh in our minds. So we'll put those on after this clip, and
just recommend you go and do it yourself.
Oh, yeah,
really
loved
good.
it.
Great fun.
We did love it, and even now we still miss our tuk-tuk.
We do.
That's the closest we've got. And the painting. We did get that painting, which was great. So, but hope you found that useful, and here are some other views just more generally on what we thought of the trip overall.
We've come to our last day, and we thought we'd talk about some of the things we worried about before we came away. So the first question I was most worried about was, is it too dangerous to hire a tuk-tuk and drive around Sri Lanka?
Not at all.
Ish. No.
Not at all after the first day. Getting used to it on the first day was a bit tricky. Certainly head north, so you're going on the quieter roads to begin with was a good move, as much by luck as by judgment, but worked out.
And thank you very much.
Worked out really well, and we saw an accident when we were having a lesson, and we saw another little shunt on the second day. But apart from that, we've seen no accidents at all.
No,
and not heard of on the tuk-tuk chat. No one's had any accidents or nothing that's been reported. So
if you could drive a car, you can probably drive a tuk-tuk.
Yeah, and coming from the UK makes it that much easier because you drive on the left anyway. So yeah, all good. Okay, and The other thing we kind of thought of before we came was, well, it's going to be all young backpackers and they're the only ones who are going to be doing this kind of thing. Was that the case?
No, wasn't the case at all. We saw lots of people of different ages. We saw couples who were young and backpackers who were in mostly 20s, early 30s, I'd say. Then we also saw, particularly today, we saw two lots of older people driving. We met another couple driving,
Families
older.
with kids.
We've seen families with kids. We've seen groups of girls going in convoy. So
And there's been some people and there's been a few people on their own just doing it solo.
Yeah.
So
absolutely
complete mix. So don't worry about it. If you feel like doing it, there'll be other people the same as you.
We also wondered about whether we'd like the Sri Lankan food. We're not big curry eaters. So have we hated it? Have we loved it? What?
I wouldn't say I've loved it, to be honest. I know a lot of people rave about it, but kotu, I could take it or leave it. Curries, we're not big curry fans. They've been okay. I wouldn't say that. I prefer the Indian we have at home, but then that's probably because I prefer milder rather than spicier. Yeah.
We've liked the banana roti.
Yeah.
They've been very good. We've liked them a lot. We've liked the ice creams. We've liked the bread, the long thin breads. I think are called Viennas. Got sugar on the top.
And the samosas we just had about an hour ago, probably the best we've ever had.
Yeah. Listen out for the bread van. The
Sounds
blue
like,
bread van. Sounds like an ice cream van, but it's not. It's a bread van. Fantastic bread. There you go.
Probably, and the fruit's been good.
The fruit's been good, and the coconuts.
Yeah.
I actually like the coconuts.
The coconuts are much nicer than the sort of Thailand, Cambodia, Laos ones for some reason. Just a different variety, but we like them better. And
they'd be even better with a little tot of vodka in, but I've not seen that anywhere yet. So maybe when we go home.
I don't think that's the thing. Another thing people asked us about before we came is how expensive it'd be. I'll probably do a video just on all the costs at some point, but we budgeted
£30
a night, same as we did in the other parts of Southeast Asia we've been to, and to be honest, you'd easily get under that.
Yeah.
A lot of the places have been less than 20. The one we're in tonight is
17,
and it's really nice.
Really nice.
We've probably averaged about £20 a night.
We just had the splurge at the last one. That was all.
Yeah, the last one was a lot more. That was 45, but
it was worth it, to be honest.
It was really nice.
but everywhere we stayed in has been very clean.
Yeah.
The bathrooms, I'd say, are something out the 1970s in general. Coloured tiles, but everywhere has been very clean. I think there's only one that I thought the bathroom could have done with a bit more of a scrub. So, all good.
So accommodation generally very good. A few places didn't have hot water. I guess more towards the north. As we come south, there's been more with, most of them have had hot water, which has been good. But even when they had the cold, I mean, yes, you're in the shower briefly, but
very briefly.
but it's not the end of the world. It's very warm outside, so you soon warm up. So yeah, it's been pretty good, the accommodation.
Yeah.
The standard's been better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, very clean, very good.
So since we've been down the south, we've been to quite a few beaches. Which is the best, do you reckon? Where would you spend your time?
I really like this one. Bentota Beach is absolutely gorgeous. The sea is, you can see the background's not too rough. There's been a little bit of surfing behind us, but you can feel safe going in the water. I didn't feel safe in the water in Tangel. Belagama was nice, but very busy with surfers. Goyamboka.
That was nice.
Beach was really nice,
Bigger
but again,
waves
quite crowded and big waves. So I reckon for the places that we've been, out of all of those, the best beach here is Bentota Beach. And actually the sand feels like Maldives sand, like talcum powder, rather than rough sand, which it's been everywhere else. So this is gorgeous. And it has a bread van and an ice cream van, even better.
Yeah, and it's really spread out. It's not busy. Really nice. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Mm.
Okay, so it's nearly 5:30. Sun is setting on our
last day.
Last day.
This time tomorrow, we'll have given the tuk-tuk back.
We will. I don't want to give the tuk-tuk back.
No.
I want to keep it and take it back, but I'm not allowed. So we've got a little model one. Anyway, so that's it for our Sri Lanka. Well, there might be odd bits tomorrow, but that's pretty much it for our Sri Lankan month. All that's left is for a last swim.
It is. Right, take them out.